Hello and thanks for joining me again. I'm going to be doing another little exercise in this sketchbook, just getting together a few ideas, how to paint water in quite an abstract way, getting some of the colours and tones in there. You might recall I did this one in here last week when I started this new little sketchbook, and I've just made some notes up there of what techniques I used in that, so I can come back to it at a later date. And today I've just popped some gesso on there, and I'm going to start with some of this Winsor and Newton ink, and this is just the blue one. And I'm going to have a go at putting it on with a pipette and just letting it sit on top of the gesso. So some nice horizontal lines. And I'll try this time to vary the width of the line and maybe get one or two wavy bits in there. And as it's coming out, you're going to have darker areas because you know, the flow isn't quite even, so perhaps this will be a good idea. It's nothing I've done before, but I just thought I'd give it a go. And of course with water the lines are closer together, nearer to the horizon, so as you come towards you, if you leave them a little bit further apart. I'd just like to say thank you to everyone who's been watching my videos, and especially to those of you who have subscribed. It's great that so many of you are enjoying what I'm doing. If you've got any ideas, things you really want me to do, you want me to show you, just pop them in the comments below. I'm happy to have a go at anything you want demonstrating. So it's a lovely deep blue, that. And just give that pipette a nice clean out with some fresh water. And I just wonder if I could drag some of that around now while it's still wet, as if perhaps there's something up here that's made a bit of a movement in the water. This is just plain. I'll obviously make mistakes, but it's nothing I've done before, so we'll just give it a try and see if we can get some watery feeling going on. Yeah, I quite like that. Some darker places, and it's perhaps deeper water, and then some lighter areas. So that's just one colour. We need a bit more colour in there. So this one, if we add the two together, we're going to get darker, but this one is nice violet one. And I'm just going to put a tiny bit of it in a few different spots and let it run into just to make some darker areas. And drag some of that across where it's pooling a bit there. It's only a little sketchbook, so it is going to make puddles, but it's just to get some ideas together. And that's going to give it quite some nice depth, really, make it nice and dark. And the other thing I thought, the other colour you often see in, I don't know whether this is a lake or the sea, but the other colour I chose today was the emerald. So not use the brush at all so far, just using this pipette. A bit of something out there. Perhaps not too much of the green, just a little hint here and there. I could always try just tilting that a little bit if you think that it's all ended up too much in one place. Let it run in a bit, and if you think it's too dark you could take some of that up with a tissue, but I think I'm going to leave some of them dark spots. It's just going to give us a bit of depth there. And I'll leave that to dry before I do anything else, and I will come back to it once that's dry. Okay, so now that's dry, it's actually dried a lot lighter than I was expecting, so I've lost some of those darks, so I'll try and get some of those back. But I don't know if you can see, we've ended up with some really nice, lovely colours, the way it's flowed, the three colours have flowed into each other. I want to retain some of those lights as well, so I'm going to just use a little bit of resist in some places where the paper's still white, just so that we don't end up losing all of the white. Perhaps put it as if there's some sun coming down this side maybe. And reserve some of these white bits here. Just a couple over here, a little bit down the base there. Okay, so just keep that resist there. So now I think I'm going to pop a little bit of watercolour on the top of this. Not sure what colour. Just start with a little bit of cobalt. See how it goes. Okay, so I've just covered the whole thing with cobalt. I think what I'm going to do is put a little bit more extra water at this end. Quite a puddle of water down there. And then to get some of those horizontals back, I'm just going to perhaps try running, turn it so you can see, just allow it to run to get some of those horizontal lines back that were perhaps lost when the ink dried. Just let the paint fall off. Just picking some of the ink up as well where it wasn't quite dry. So it's got a nice watery feel to it now. And I think probably quite like to put a little bit of the nice emerald green back into there as well in places. Just go over where it was with ink, just let it, it's nice and wet now, so I can just let it run in. If you could hear that noise just then outside, that was actually one of my pet donkeys. I've got donkeys just outside the door. And again, I think I'll just give that a squirt and let it. The resist hasn't actually worked that well. I wonder if perhaps I dab off some of the paint where I've put the resist, it might just lift it back, that white. Yeah. So we're getting quite a nice contrasting tones there at the moment. And to go even darker, we'll pop some of the brusho in. But it's nice and wet. I'll just give it another extra spray just to make sure anything's still moving. Pop some of the turquoise in. And perhaps pop them where I want some darker areas, away from that, where I've kept that white in the middle there. So that's the turquoise. To go even darker, we could mix some ultramarine in. little bit of cobalt. I'm not going to use green brusho because in the green brusho a lot of other colours come out of it, yellows and things that I didn't just want in here at the minute. Again, I want to just lift that up and let it drip a bit, get a bit of movement going. Let's get some horizontal lines. See how it's making some quite nice patterns down there at the bottom. And the other thing that I found is quite handy if you did want to get more white back that you'd lost, you can use this, the white brusho from Colourcraft, and you can just pop little bits of this in to lift it, and also it might give a little bit of perhaps a spray feeling as well to the water, something you could maybe use for waves or speckles of light on the water even. And just put a little bit of white all over. So of course if you're doing these techniques in a finished painting, you take a little bit more time and care and plan out a little bit better where your light and shade and everything were going. But I think actually it's worked quite well using the inks and things, and those few, just half a dozen colours. Okay. So thanks again for watching, especially thank you to everyone who's subscribed recently, it's much appreciated. If you've anything you would like me to show you, just pop some comments below and perhaps I'll do that for you next week. Okay, thank you, bye bye.